created some components. We will continue that. What we learned last session. Uh, what documentation you want to read? Priti, what documentation you want to read? How to read documentation? Bootstrap documentation. Let's finish Bootstrap first. We will first finish Bootstrap, then you will read documentation. Uh, this is not ours. Yeah. So, which one our project is? Amazon shopping full stack. Yeah. So yesterday we discussed about how to design these models, how to create models and how to work with them. This we learned. In this, how the pop-ups will come, how to display the details, all these things we designed. Now, here one more technical point you need to understand is the frequently asked question here is how to handle link toggle. How to handle link toggle is very frequently asked question. Handling link toggle is nothing but actually we don't want buttons sometimes. We want links, not buttons. That means here we will keep a link and we will say details. Details is a link, and on that link click, we want a model to appear. For button and for link, what is difference is generally button requires data BS toggle and data BS target. These two required. But when you are using anchor, for anchor, this href is target. Href is target. So no data BS target. We don't use data BS target anymore. Only we use data BS toggle. That's it. That means for anchor, href will work as data BS target. For button, we have to write two attributes. For anchor, we need to use this one. Target href will be working as target. That means, for example, see now, for this link, href is equal to, it should open this details, then hash details. And which details, what is details type? You have to tell that. Data, BS, what is it? Toggle. Yeah, 1 second. We have a little network issue. We will check once. So it's fine. Okay, so let's continue. Right now, for this anchor, we don't need to write data BS target because href will work as target. Only we need to write data BS toggle. Toggle is what? Model. Now let's run this and see. When I click on details, then the details should pop up and display same. So we can write for buttons or we can write for links. But when you are writing for buttons, you need two important attributes. What are those attributes? Data BS toggle and data BS target. If you are working for single anchor, then you have to use this href as target. So syntactically like this. Anchor href uses details and data BS toggle. It is model. That's how we need to define some text or link. You have to close the anchor. So the same concept, only the difference is whether you want to use a link or you want to use a button. For button, how you define, and for links, how do you configure? So that is the bootstrap model. Next, important in bootstrap. So we have to know about how to use bootstrap collapse. How to work with bootstrap collapse. So this is another important concept. Actually, what are the previous components? Summary till now. We learned about alerts, badges, button, and forms. Yesterday we learned forms. We discussed about input groups and carousel and model. These are the components we learned. And now collapse. Actually, collapse is nothing but collapse. It is used to show or hide any container dynamically. We can show or hide any content dynamically by using collapse. Collapse. So for that, we need classes like collapse. Collapse. Just this collapse class is enough to handle open and close. Usually it uses show. It uses fade like classes also. Show is to always display, and fade is used for animate with fade effect. Animate with fading. For that we have to use fade. These two are common. We use it in our carousel also, how to handle them. Collapse is used for showing and hiding any content. That's very simple. Let's go here and copy this, and let's design a new file and collapse. Okay. And in this collapse, we are configuring. Let me paste all the code same. Only the body section will change. Here I am adding like product details. In this, we have a data list with a data term name and data definition. So here we have some name, Nike Casuals. Okay. And data term preview and data definition. Here, this preview, I need to show and hide. Then I will keep this in a button. Okay, preview toggle. Okay. And below this is the data definition. In this, we will create a div, and in that, we'll put an image. Image source from public images. We have some shoe.jpg width and height. That is general div here. Now, here in this example, what we want is we must able to show or hide this preview. Just show and hide the preview whenever required. That's very simple. This container can use the class collapse. And this a page can have a lot of collapses. Then collapse needs an ID. ID I given as preview. Okay. This should toggle on this button. So data BS target. Target is hash preview. Data BS toggle. Which one should toggle? Collapse. That's it. So button class is BTN and BTN primary. And you can see that is the button. By default, preview is not visible. Then collapse can use show. Collapse can use fade like effects. Suppose I am just using show. Then you see it will display by default. I click on preview, it will hide. Again click, it will show. And you can use fade. Fade is a little bit animated. That means it will fade and fade out, fade in and fade out. Show is just sliding up and down, and fading is disappearing and displaying. So this is how you can show any content and hide any content. It can be anything, a paragraph, image, any container you can show and hide. That's very simple, small concept. But it is very important because everywhere in Bootstrap, wherever you want to show and hide contents, this is the content which plays the key role. Collapse plays the key role in that. So collapse is used for displaying such contents, show and hide. It's very simple approach. Syntactically, we need a container with a class collapse. It needs fade, it needs show. And collapse need an ID. ID is some preview. And inside this, you can put any content and how to access that. Data BS toggle. Toggle is what? Collapse. And data BS target. Target is what? Preview. Target is the preview. That is how we have to define. Example, I will copy this. This is a simple one for collapse. Collapse. That is the simple concept of collapse. But generally, in some websites, what we do is, if we have multiple collapse, so many collapse, you see here, suppose let's go into a website like Netflix. In Netflix, you can see this is FAQs. And you see, when I click on this, it will open. and again click on that. That means it will hide. This is also collapse on. This is also collapse. That means you can show, you can hide. That is nothing special. It's a very simple thing. For example, see what I am doing here. Just if I want to achieve like that, then I am designing like this. So I will put FAQs. So suppose Netflix FAQs. Okay. Here I'm just using a container. In this container, we will keep another div. So this is another div. Okay. This I will put a class as card. We already learned card. And this I will put a class called card header. And this I will put a class called card body. Already we learned about cards. In the card header, we will put a button and the class as BTN dark and the W100. That is the card button. And here, what is Netflix? And below this card body, I put a paragraph. So I put a paragraph in that we have this information. So let's end the paragraph here, and another paragraph is here. Another paragraph is here. Okay, two paragraphs I am having. These are the two paragraphs under that body, in the body. Now you see actually it displays like this. It displays like this. And what we can do here is observe carefully. This is BG dark and text white. It will display in this way. Now what we have to do here is I click on this. It should show and hide. It's simple. What we do for this, we can also use collapse. We can also use collapse. And in this collapse, what we have to do is we have to put an ID as Q1, question 1, suppose. Now this button have to use data BS target. Target is equal to Q1. Data BS toggle. Toggle is what? Collapse. Collapse. Now you can see here, and this must be by default show. So you can see now, I click on this, it will hide. Again, click, it will display. That means we are showing and hiding the content here. We are showing and hiding the content by using collapse. But Netflix is not like this. Netflix is having several questions. It is having several questions. Observe carefully now. I click on this, the first question opens. I click on the second, then first question will automatically collapse. Second question will open. If I click third one, second will automatically collapse. That means out of all, only one is active. Because when user is watching one, others we need to hide, not required. This mechanism, here also collapse is working. Here also collapse is working. But this is called as, technically we call this as accordion. Bootstrap accordion. We call that as accordion. Accordion is nothing but it is a combination of multiple components which will use mutex mechanism. Already we know mutex. Mutex means, we learned what is mutex. Mutex means What is mutex? No. By seeing your serious faces in observing, I thought you are genius in remembering. No? So you are just listening seriously, huh? No use. No use if you listen seriously. Huh? Some people very reservedly listen like this. What is the use? I need result, not attitude in listening, attitude in responding. Then that makes sense for developers. Tell me, mutex is mutual exclusion, right? We learned mutex means mutual exclusion. That means what bootstrap contains mutual exclusion. That means accordion uses collapse with mutex. Mutex is mutual exclusion. In which concept we learned this? In which concept we learned about mutex? We learned about mutex in a concept called radio buttons. Remember the radio buttons. Radio buttons works with a mechanism called mutex. Checkbox will not work with mutex. Checkbox is not mutex. Radio buttons use mutex. Mutual exclusion. Mutual exclusion means only one container is displayed. A container can display its content, and others will hide. That is mutual exclusion. Technically, bootstrap uses an accordion. Accordion uses collapse. But for that collapse, you need to design in such a way that it can display only one, not all. So let's see how to design that. For that, what classes we are having. So what is difference between collapse and accordion? Collapse is independent. You can open and close. But accordion is a combination of collapse. It is a combination of collapse. Combination of collapse means it can exclude one display, include another display. Only one can be shown. When one is shown, another is hidden. That is what collapse is. So, and accordion is. These accordions are very popular in such contents. For example, let's see, we'll do one thing. So let's create here. For that, what classes are required? We need accordion. We need accordion item. We need accordion header. So we need accordion body. We have accordion item, accordion header, accordion body, accordion collapse. We have accordion collapse. So by using these, we can design accordion. Let's see how to create accordion. So this is not great, right? Because if I create 2-3 questions, all will be open. For example, I will write another card and I will put here, and this is Q2. Okay, this is Q2. Now this is question 2, and in question 2 I am giving. So how to use Netflix. How to use Netflix. This is second question. Now see what happens. It will display like this. Now both are hiding and both are displaying. It should not be like that. One is showing, another should be hidden. Right? Either all can be hidden or only one can be displayed. When I click on first one, second should hide. That is accordion nature, right? Let's design that. So let's see how to create it. So let's remove all this. Let's keep it. I will do one thing. I will keep this content here. Now here we will rename this as accordion, accordion.html. Okay. In this accordion, first we have to create a main container. This main container should have a class. It should have a class, and the class is accordion. Accordion. So accordion, that is the class. That is the accordion class. Main should have accordion. Inside that accordion, we need a heading ID. How to refer this accordion? We need an ID as FAQs. That is the ID. FAQs is the ID for accordion. Okay. Now inside this accordion, we have to design a class. Accordion contains accordion item. Accordion item. That means accordion is a collection of items. Is a collection of items. Suppose how many items you want? 1, 2, 3. I want 3 items. So that means 3 accordion items. Okay. And very important, every item contains a header. Remember, in the Netflix, this is the header. What is Netflix? In that header, this is body. That means what is Netflix is, this is one accordion item. Accordion item contains header and body. Header and body. So what is header? We will keep a div class. What is it? Accordion header. In accordion header, just actually, if you want to put ordinary links, you can put ordinary links. Already I told you. If you want to put ordinary links, then you can put an anchor. Anchor. Generally, these are defined as accordion button. We have accordion button also. Accordion button. That means this anchor is first question. What is Netflix? That is the first question. What is Netflix? This is header. That means user will click on it. Then I will make this as a class called, we will put as accordion button. Accordion button. Okay. Now this is header. Below the header, we will create a div. This is the accordion body. This is accordion body. This is accordion body. This body should collapse. This accordion body should collapse. Then we have to use accordion collapse. We have to use accordion collapse. And collapse can hide and display the content only when it is displayed as collapse. That means you should use collapse also. We should use collapse and we should use accordion collapse. Another important is this body should contain an ID. How to collapse? It should have an ID. ID is Q1. Q1 is question 1. Okay, now this body collapse contains some paragraph. Let's go to the website and copy their paragraphs. This is one paragraph. I will put one paragraph. Okay. I will put another paragraph. Second paragraph. I will copy that also. That means now it is having two paragraphs. Okay, good. That is working fine. Now, this collapse should work for this button. It should work for that button. So, how this will respond? Remember, this is not a button, that is a link. Already I told you, for link, we will not have database target. What it will have? href. href should be question 1. And data bs toggle. It should toggle what? Collapse. That collapse is this body section. That is the collapse body section. Okay. Now you can see that this is having, I will open that accordion. I changed the name. This is how it looks. And you see that is a link, and it is the button, up arrow is there. I click on this button, then it will come like this. But still currently only one option is there. Only one option is there. You can see it is showing and hiding. I click on this, it will open, it will close. The button symbol is changing. Button symbol is changing. And you can see that Netflix is different accordion because they have separate bootstrap. I will show you. They use different third party. Concept is accordion only, but their appearance is different. Bootstrap appearance is different. You can change according to your requirements. But important is Netflix is designed in React.js. For React.js, they have separate components, means separate bootstrap like library. They use it. In that, like this close buttons, everything will come ready-made. But our bootstrap have different symbols. We can change, but it is lengthy process to change, which I will show at the end how to change, right? How we can change. As of now see here, I will keep a heading. Let's keep that heading as Netflix FAQs. Netflix FAQs, and that is the heading, and you have this Netflix. Okay, one question is there. Let's design similarly others. That means now how to design, let's create another item. For every item, we must have a class. Every item must have an accordion header, right? Accordion header. This header will use an anchor. And what is the second question? Let's go to the website here, and in the website, we will go to the second question. Second question, how much Netflix cost? How much does Netflix cost? Okay, I will go here. How much does Netflix cost? That is second question. Okay, now we need another div. What is it? Class accordion body. In that accordion body, we need again collapse. We need accordion collapse. We need an ID. What is the ID? Q2. This is question 2. In that we have a paragraph. We have a paragraph and this. Now anchor. This should use, what is it? Accordion button. I am using accordion button. Okay. Now it should use href. Href is equal to hash. What is it? It should work for which one? It should work for Q2. And the data BS toggle. Toggle is what? Collapse. We have to use data BS toggle as collapse, right? Okay, now save it. Now let's run this and see. That means we will see here. This is the 2 questions we are having. Now I click on this, it will open. I click on this, this is also open. You created accordion with items, but still mutex is not working. Why? Because accordion should know, you remembered in mutex concept I told you, all must have a common name. I hope you remembered that. Radio buttons will not exhibit mutex until or unless they are given with common name. Remember, again and again I am telling, if you don't properly know HTML, you can't do anything in JavaScript and Bootstrap. I know that you people are excited in learning advanced topics, but that excitement will be nothing without proper knowledge of HTML. If you think HTML is very easy, very light, I know everything, I can do everything in HTML, that doesn't make any sense if you cannot answer the questions. You can't do any design in Bootstrap and JavaScript without remembering all this. And I am seeing that you are very poor in your HTML recollection. No use. No use of learning Bootstrap and JavaScript without that. You should be very perfect. Once revise all the topics you learned in HTML. I will do one thing. By this weekend, I will conduct one test on HTML to everybody. And people who don't write this test, we will not allow them to class. Okay? Right? By this weekend, I will conduct one test. People who write the test, they only allowed to class. Others not. Let's see. We don't want any time wasting people here. Understood? Huh? No time pass here. Come here, learn the technology and practice. If you don't take it serious, don't come to my batch. Understood? Right? I want perfect recollection of all the topics till now what you learned. Otherwise, later more complexity will come. You can't handle. You recollect all these things. So what we learned about mutex, they must have a common name. Common name. Observe carefully now. Now these are having common name or not? These are having common name or not? Not having any common name. Then how accordion knows that these two items are belonging to same? Because they are separate collapse. For that, what we have to do is every accordion item, we have to use data BS parent. Data BS parent. That means the parent of this item is whom? Hash FAQs. FAQs is accordion name. Accordion name. That means the parent of this item is FAQs. Who is the parent of second item? Data BS parent. Who is the parent of second item? Same. Who is it? FAQs. That means the same accordion is parent of both. Now both items are attached to same parent. If both are attached to the same parent, you see here Netflix, and click on second and it is still opening. Why? Because this is opening and closing. Opening and closing is not related to item. Opening and closing is not related to item. Actually, opening and closing is related to accordion. Collapse. It is related to collapse. That means this data BS target, we have to define for this collapse. This collapse should use FAQs. The second collapse also should use FAQs. That means now in item, we have header and collapse. Collapse should be linked with each other. So you see now, I click Netflix, I click on this, only one will be there. That means I click on first question, first one will open. I click on second one will open. Only one is working. That means we need to link both of them to one item. So that means one parent must be there. We have to use data BS parent. This is very important. If you miss this, then accordion will not work like accordion. It will work like collapse. It will work like collapse. Now appearance your wish. That means now what I can do here, I can change this. I can change this class accordion button. Instead of accordion button, I will use BTN dark, and I will use here W100, that is a button style. And similarly, the second one also, I am not using accordion button. I am just using BTN dark and W100 like this. Now they look like this. They look like this. It's not necessary that you have to show like accordion button arrows and all. I click on this, it will open that. I click on this, it will open only one. Out of these two, it is going to display only one. Like this, you can add any number of items. You can add any number of items, but you have to link all of them with one. This is accordion style. It is a combination of collapse and accordion. And very important for accordion is here, we need to display the option. Margins, padding, everything your wish now. Background colors, foreground colors, anything you can apply here. Anything you can put inside the body section. Forms, tables, anything can be there. So just the point is, all should not be displayed. For example, I want first item to display. Whenever page opens, I don't want all collapse. One should be displayed. Then what we have to do? For that accordion collapse, this is collapse. Here we have to add show. We have to add the attribute show, right? When we add the attribute show, by default it is showing. Now when I click on second one, it will collapse. When I click on first one, it will display. That means only one will be displaying. One will be displaying. So the order of design is important. And here very important is data BS target. Parent. Data BS parent is used to bind all items. That means all accordion collapse items to its parent, to the parent accordion. That is important. If you miss this data BS parent, and every accordion item will be independent, they will work, but everyone will be independent. They will not exhibit mutex. So if anyone asks what happens if parent is not defined? What happens if parent is not defined? The answer is it will not exhibit mutex. It will not exhibit mutex. The question is this: so what happens if parent is not defined? Then the answer is it will not exhibit mutex. That means every accordion item will be independent. So that is one important accordion. Let me give you this example. This is an example for accordion. Right, how we can create and configure the accordion. So two important options. One is how to use collapse and how to use accordion. Next, very important here, very important is we have a small and large components are there. We will see them together. We have drop down. We have bootstrap drop down. What is the purpose of drop down? Already we learned. Drop down Drop down allows to select any one option from a group of choices. That is the purpose. Already HTML provides select for drop down. What is problem? What problem you observed in this select? Any problem we discussed in this select? No problem. Everything good. What problem we discussed about select? No problem. What is the problem that we discussed about select? The problem that we discussed about select is it is RC data type. RC data type. It is RC data type. RC data type means, so suppose you have Netflix. Can you design such a drop down with icon? That is the point we learned now. Remember, na? Especially we discussed that we cannot put icons and symbols in drop down, right? So that is very important. That means now what is problem with HTML drop down? HTML drop down. So HTML select, HTML drop down is RC data type. RC data type. That means will not allow symbols. Will not allow symbols. Only plain text. But very important, what is good about this is, so HTML drop down is good for dynamically adding and removing items. HTML drop down is good for dynamically adding and removing items. That means suppose you have some cities, 10 cities list is there. That list will be changing according to product. Every product is not available to every city. When I select a city, product, cities will be changing. That means drop down is same, but number of items will be changing. If you want such drop down, Bootstrap is not good for that. Bootstrap is not good for that. Bootstrap is good for symbols, icons, and standard drop down. If you want to add items, remove items dynamically, then Bootstrap is not good. For that, you have to go with HTML. So Bootstrap drop down cannot add or remove items dynamically. So, but it can display rich content with icons, symbols, images. You can use anything. You can use icons, symbols, images, pictures also you can put in drop down. That is possible. That is very important for that. But dynamically changing, not possible. So there is nothing like which one is best. The best is decided by the developer according to situation and requirement. HTML is best for some occasions and Bootstrap is best for mostly navigation and standard list, where list is not frequently changing. For such things, drop down is better. So for that, we have so many classes. We have drop down, we have drop up, we have drop start, we have drop end. So don't think that it is only drop down. It can drop up, it can drop right, it can drop left, right? It can drop in any direction. It can drop in any direction. Start and end, they are for left and right. And up and down, they are for drop up and drop down. So there is not only drop down, there are so many. We have drop down, we have drop up, we have drop start, we have drop end. And very important is drop down uses drop down item. Drop down uses first drop down menu. We have drop down menu. This drop down menu contains drop down items. Drop down items. Usually drop down items contains drop down buttons also. Drop down button also present. Actually, so many changes they have made in the latest drop down. Earlier drop down was different. Now drop down is different. Earlier means in old version of Bootstrap, for designing drop down, lot of collapse combination we have to create. But now it is not required. It will simply work with a combination of drop down. Earlier we have to depend on a lot of collapse combination, but now in latest version, you can easily handle it. For example, let's see here. Suppose I will create, copy this accordion example I copied, right? This is accordion example. Let's copy and create a new file. And let's add a new file drop down. Okay. And let's paste this. Let's clean this. And here I am just giving a heading. So drop down. Just heading. And here we need to create a div. This div contains a class, and the class is drop down. That is drop down. Okay. Now inside the drop down, what we have to do is here we have to create a button. We have to create a button, and this button will have the class as this is drop down. We have drop down buttons button. But actually now in the latest versions, you don't need these buttons because we can just use the class BTN. BTN primary, BTN danger, we can use the traditional classes. So this is the button. And here I am using an option. I will put a span class is equal to BI globe. And below that you define language like this we are defining. Now usually this is, so the drop down, let's close that. Yeah, so let's open this here. Now that is how it looks like. Now very important is actually drop down contains, still it is not done because drop down contains drop down menu, right? So drop down menu contains options, right? So here we are creating just a drop down, and we are configuring a button inside drop down, and in that we can keep some options here. Actually, general HTML drop down is a collection of options, but here we will use actually a class. We will put a class drop down menu. We will use a drop down menu. This drop down menu contains drop down items. That means here we will put an option, and this is the class drop down item. In this drop down item, we are using here options like, so here we are using an option like what is it, English. So we have another option like we have Hindi, like this. Now later I will show you how to toggle and display those options actually. Now you cannot display them. Why we cannot display them? Because this drop down have to use this menu to open and close. This menu to open and close. That means this should work as collapse. That means actually you have a drop down. So drop down, you see, there is no collapse here. There is no collapse. Earlier we used to have it. Earlier we used to have drop down, collapse like options are present. Now we don't need them. Then how the button knows that it has to work for this menu? Actually, this button uses the option data BS. What is it? Toggle. Data BS toggle. What it should toggle? Drop down. It should toggle drop down. It should toggle drop down. But still here, when it says toggle drop down, that means it will click here. It will open the drop down. It will open the drop down, but it is not looking like drop down. It is not looking like drop down because we just used a button. Actually, this button is given with a class called, this button is given with a class. I given BTN primary. Actually, we use a class called drop down toggler. It is a drop down toggle. When I give drop down toggle, you can see it looks like this. This is drop down toggle. Arrow mark will come. But I want along with toggle other options. Then what we do? BTN dark, like this we can define. Now it looks like this. That means in order to give that icon, we have to use drop down toggle. Drop down toggle is another class which is used for drop down toggle. It is used for displaying that menu. So we use for button. So these days now you don't need this button. Earlier button have to use that toggle. Now we don't need to use that button. We can just apply toggle. For buttons, you can use your button classes. BTN close, BTN primary, contextual colors you can apply. Now here still so many points. Then menus, icons, colors also you can change. Background, you can put BG danger, BG success you can use. How to put English, Hindi languages? Already you learned that. To put Hindi and English languages, you can go to Google Translate. You open Google Translate. This is Google Translate. In Google Translate, you type here the translate from English. Okay, English to Hindi. Okay. And here I type here Hindi and it will translate like this. Now you need to copy this and come here and you paste that here. It will be in this way. You can paste that here. This is the content. That means now what happens? The drop down contains that option like that. Right? We can display that content and show the content here. This is drop down. And very important is I am just using a toggler actually. And here I am using a simple option for this. Actually, what you can do is you can add any number of items. You can put here div. This can have another option. We have a drop down divider. This divider is used for split, separating. After the divider, I can add another class, drop down item. I am using another drop down item. Here I am using help. What is this divider? This divider will separate the items like this. It will separate like this. We will separate the item like this. And very important, these can be links. Those can be links. Links means you can make them clickable. I just given an ordinary text. Generally, what you can use here, you can put an anchor. Anchor, href is equal to, it will navigate to some page if there is a page. I'm just giving here, so anchor, and here href, I'm giving hash. This help also, anchor, href is hash. Okay. And you know that anchors will have a different appearance. You know that you can change the appearance, remove underlines, you can display different colors. That's all your general bootstrap styles you can apply. But here observe, this is drop down, this is drop down. I am just changing it to, instead of drop down, I am changing it to drop up. If I change it to drop up, you can see it will show up arrow. But when I click here, it is showing down only because there is no space for up. If there is space for up, it will open. So we will do one thing. We will put some space here. That means what I will do here, margin top class, I will give margin top as 4. That means some space came, and still that is not enough. I will do some paragraphs I will put here. Let's copy some paragraph and put here so that I can have a proper space above. I will put some paragraph here and I have some proper space above, and you see it drops up. That simply depends on which word you are using, drop up, drop down, right? And depends on the space. Suppose I just given here as, so this is not drop, this is drop end. Drop end. So drop end will be like this, and it will open right side. It will open right side. We can create nested menu also. Later we will see. Inside that again another, inside that again another. But for that we need to learn some events also. Why? Because on mouse over, it should open. So for that we will learn some more techniques here. As of now, this is drop directions. You can use drop end, you can use drop up, you can use drop down, anything. Actually, drop down is also having a class like drop down, drop down, drop down. We have menu dark. This is where menu where we are giving here, na? Yeah. Drop down menu, we can use dark. Drop down menu dark is used for displaying a dark menu like this. Colors, your wish. You can put primary, you can put text colors, link colors, you can change according to requirements. Everything combination you have to change. Some are ready-made available. Some are ready-made available, some you have to change. Suppose I given as BG primary. BG primary, that means it will open in that primary color. And suppose I given text white like this. That means here that is not text white. Why? Because they are links. If they are not links, then it will be okay. If they are links, you know where we have to change. We have to put a style. We have to put a style. A link, what is the color? Color as what? White. Wherever you are using them, it should display that. But still here, they are present in which location? Drop down. Inside the drop down, you have to change the colors. That means here we have to use a link. So suppose text decoration, what we are giving? None. Okay, and here I am just removing this beige primary and text white for this. And you can see that it is going to display in this way. Colors, combinations and everything you have to change according to the attributes you have learned. Every item have options. For example, this is BG dark, and I said some text white like this. That means BG dark and text white. It will display like this dark. But text white is not suitable for this. Why? Because text white, even I apply for link. So I am applying a class as text white. That is the text white class applied. Now it will be displayed. That means individually you have to control for every item if you want different. Suppose I given BG dark for entire menu, BG dark for entire menu, and text white is given for every link. For every link I am using the text white. That means it will display in this way. So this divider, so which is using divider, that is text white. Here the divider, it cannot display in text white because divider is a different icon again. All such things you have to customize in the original file, or you have to create your own customizations that I will show you. I told you that customizations we will learn last, how to change their existing settings. For that we need to learn some more concept, then we can change them. So as of now, we will just understand the components, how they are available. Later we will talk about the customizations of them, right? How to customize and how to handle them. As of now, this is one basic example of drop down. And what is advantage? Every item can have a different symbol, icons, because these are RC data type. Suppose English, suppose you want to add some symbol, you can put a span. So BI, and BI, suppose I given as some alarm like this, then you can see every item will have a symbol. Right? These kind of things are not possible in general drop downs. When we design with HTML, this is not possible. This is possible with the help of this drop down. Now you can design Netflix like drop down easily, because Netflix like drop down, it has shown some items inside it, and that is simple now. You see the Netflix drop down. This is the Netflix button, and this is the Netflix drop down. It's very simple now. So because this is just icon, these are just the items inside it. Now, drop downs are used in mostly navigations. They are mostly used in navigations. So if you want a stable list for navigations, then use Bootstrap. If you want the changing dynamically, then you have to go with HTML. But problem with HTML, it is RC data type. It will not allow any icons and symbols inside them. So that is one point. Example I will give here. I will copy this example. Later, we can put this drop down in navigation bar. We will design one navigation bar. We can put that inside navigation bar. Then you can create cascading drop down. Cascading drop down means in a drop down, another drop down. In the drop down, another drop down. Multi-level categories will be there. Such multi-level categories we can design by using these drop down options. So for that, we need to learn about technically. Netflix background banner, already we learned. This is not, in first day itself we learned how to design the background of Netflix, how to dominate. That already first day. In the first day learning about backgrounds itself we learned. And one more time I explained that is not the concept. Right? So everything already we discussed. Right? So already we learned how to design drop down. I don't know what you are talking about. Who is this pretty? So Netflix background banner already we learned. You remembered we learned gradient colors. In gradient colors, I already explained how to give the gradients also, right? Gradient colors. By using gradient colors, you can apply. Already we learned radial gradients, linear gradient colors. We can do that. Outside darker, inside light, we can put that white and all, right? Now, this is another option. What is it? Drop downs. How to design drop down. Now, once we know this drop down, now we can create nav bars. How to design a navigation bar, dynamic responsive navigation bars. That we will see next session. Tomorrow we will do that. Tomorrow entire session will be about navigation. We will create dynamic navigation bars and we will see some exercises on that. I will give you some exercises with navigation bars. You have to try them. Okay. Tomorrow we will see how to work with the navigation bars and use them. Okay. Tomorrow we'll continue.